Imagine this. You are managing your national team on the biggest stage in world football, the FIFA World Cup. Your team is locked in a tense, nerve-wracking draw. You desperately need a goal to secure 3 massive points. And what do? You look at your bench, you make a substitution, and you take off your captain. You take off your best player. You take off the absolute face of your nation. Madness, right? Pure tactical suicide. Or is it? Welcome to Total Football Nexus. Today, we are breaking down one of the most unbelievable, heart-stopping matches of the 2026 FIFA World Cup Group A, South Korea versus Czechia, a game that ended 2-1 in favor of the Asian Giants, but a game where the final scoreline does not even begin to tell the real story. What happened on that pitch was a psychological thriller, a masterclass in high-stakes gambling, and a true clash of completely opposite footballing philosophies. To understand the sheer drama of the second half, you first have to understand the silent war that was fought in the first 45 minutes. This was not just a game of football, it was a battle of anatomy and strategy. Czechia came into this game with a clear, brutal game plan. They wanted to use their massive physical advantage, their height and their sheer muscular presence to completely suffocate the South Koreans. And for a while, it was terrifyingly effective. The first half was a masterclass in physical intimidation. Czechia launched relentless long balls, dominating the aerial duels, trying to crush the Korean spirit before the game even truly began. Every time a Korean player touched the ball, a giant Czech defender was breathing down their neck. The Koreans were under immense pressure, backed into a corner, relying purely on their defensive discipline to survive the onslaught. The referee blew the whistle for halftime, 0-0, but the tension in the stadium was suffocating. You could feel that something had to give. The dam was going to break. The question was, who would drown first? The answer came in the 58th minute. The second half had barely found its rhythm when disaster struck for South Korea. The relentless physical pressure from the Europeans finally paid off. Czechia's captain, Ladislav Krejci, found the back of the net, 1-0. The stadium erupted. For a moment, it looked like the Korean resistance was completely broken. When you are being physically outmatched, conceding the first goal is usually the final nail in the coffin. It drains your legs, it destroys your hope. But this South Korean team is built entirely different. They did not panic, they did not abandon their strategy. Instead, they adapted. If they could not beat the Czechs in the air, they would destroy them on the ground. This is where the magic started to happen, orchestrated by one man, Hwang In-beom. While everyone was watching the forwards, Hwang quietly took complete ownership of the midfield. He became the puppet master. South Korea abandoned the long balls and started utilizing quick, devastating short passes. They unleashed their wingers, using blistering pace to bypass the heavy Czech defenders. And in the 66th minute, the comeback was born. A beautifully constructed move found Hwang In-beom, and the midfield maestro delivered a clinical, flawless finish, 1-1. The game was tied, but the momentum had completely shifted. South Korea was no longer defending, they were hunting. But just as the Korean fans were finding their voice again, their manager made a decision that sent shockwaves through the entire stadium, a decision so risky it could have cost him his job. What did he do? Keep watching, because the turning point of the entire tournament was about to happen. The clock hits 68 minutes. The score is deadlocked at 1-1. The tension is unbearable. South Korea is pressing for a winner. And then the fourth official raises the electronic board. The number flashing in red is the captain's number. Son Heung-min is being subbed off. A collective gasp echoed around the stadium. Taking off your most lethal weapon when you need a goal in the World Cup? It defied all logic. It was a terrifying gamble. Walking onto the pitch to replace the legendary captain was the young, hungry forward, Oh Hyeon-gyu. The pressure on this young man's shoulders was unimaginable. If South Korea lost or even drew this game, the media would tear the manager apart for taking Son off. But before Oh Hyeon-gyu could even make his mark, the entire game almost fell apart for Korea. The 77th minute brought absolute pure panic. Czechia launched a lethal counterattack, plunging deep into the Korean penalty area. The referee stopped play. The dreaded VAR symbol was drawn in the air. A crucial, match-defining VAR review was underway for a potential Czech advantage. For what felt like an eternity, the stadium held its breath. The Korean players looked completely terrified. If the decision went against them here, the match was over. But fate smiled on the Asian side. The Czech was cleared. They survived. The score remained 1-1, and that massive sigh of relief instantly turned into explosive adrenaline. Just 2 minutes later, the manager's insane gamble paid off in the most spectacular way possible. 79 minutes on the clock, exactly 11 minutes after replacing Son Heung-min, the super sub struck. Oh Hyeon-gyu found space, received the ball, and buried it into the back of the net. 2-1 for South Korea. It was absolute pandemonium. The young forward had justified the manager's ultimate risk. He brought a sudden, unpredictable burst of energy and speed to the attacking line that the exhausted Czech defenders simply could not handle. Oh Hyeon-gyu didn't just score a goal, he etched his name into World Cup history, rightfully earning the Man of the Match award for a legendary 11-minute cameo that flipped the group stages upside down. But the drama was far from over. Czechia was not going down without a fight. The physical battle reached its boiling point. To stop the blistering pace of the Korean wingers, the Czech defenders resorted to desperate tactical fouls, racking up 3 yellow cards just trying to halt the speed of the game. South Korea, desperate to protect their lead, picked up a yellow card of their own for time wasting and a heavy sliding tackle. And then came the final chaotic climax. 94 minutes, the last seconds of stoppage time. Czechia wins a desperate corner. It's their very last chance. And who comes running all the way across the pitch, sprinting directly into the Korean penalty box? The Czech goalkeeper. It was a do-or-die moment. Every single player was crammed into the penalty area. The ball was whipped in, the crowd screamed, but the South Korean defense stood like a fortress. They leapt into the air, cleared the ball away, and the final whistle blew. A monumental 2-1 victory, a tactical masterclass that proves football is not just about physical strength, but about mental resilience, blinding speed, and managers with nerves of absolute steel. Now, this tactical shift by South Korea reminds me exactly of another brilliant strategic masterclass that completely broke down a defensive giant. To know more about this, click the link in the description and watch the video right now.